those days when the world seemed filled with endless possibilities, Michael Brown was the epitome of youthful tenderness and heartfelt dreams. Do you remember how the early morning light illuminated the quiet streets of Ferguson? Every house here breathed life, and every passerby seemed bound together by a shared love for their homeland. On those sunny mornings, you could hear the voices of neighbors, the welcoming laughter of children, sounding in unison with the rustle of leaves waving in the gentle breeze. These moments seemed to be woven into the very fabric of time, creating an atmosphere of almost mythical hope and anticipation of a bright future. Every human moment was filled with meaning. The smile on Michael's face was not just an expression of joy, but a symbol of unbreakable faith that good always wins. His playful competitions on a modest city court, where he passionately threw the ball into the basket, became a true hymn to a child's dream of freedom and equality. Here, amidst the simple joys and sincere moments, the idea was born that even in the humblest of circumstances, one can find a source of light that leads to great change. Remember how every corner of Ferguson was bathed in the golden light of the coming day, and quiet streets framed by old trees hid the stories of millions of hopes and dreams. Here, in this tiny world, Michael was not just a boy, he was a reflection of a dream, a symbol of a future that promised to be bright and kind. With each day spent on these streets, stories were born that would later become legends, testimonies that even the smallest of sparks could ignite into a flame of change. Feel how in every drop of morning dew glistening on the grass, there is a reflection of the dream of equality. In every light breeze, a reminder that life belongs to all, if only we can see the beauty and strength of spirit in it. It was a time when every sound, every movement seemed part of a single chorus, where the melody of life boldly penetrated to the heart of the earth. In this world where hope shimmered like a guiding star, Michael Brown was full of faith and determination, unaware that his bright path would one day collide with unpredictable darkness. But it is these moments, so impeccably fragile and yet unshakable, that are imprinted in people's memories, becoming the foundation for understanding how important it is not to lose touch with pure dreams and innocent faith in a better future. All that remains is to remember these epical days with the realization of loss, and at the same time with gratitude for the energy that Michael carried in his soul. May the memory of a cloudless childhood, the warm sunshine and quiet laughter of the streets of Ferguson serve as a lasting reminder of what the world should be, a world where every dream has a right to live and every voice has the power to change the future. That morning, when Ferguson awoke under a heavy blanket of gray clouds, brought with it a sense of mute anxiety, as if nature itself had a premonition of impending disaster. In these moments, when the first drops of rain softly hit the cold, deserted platforms, Michael Brown, walking in silence, became the embodiment of the unity of calm and the inevitable premonition of disaster. Imagine this: the streets, usually filled with the rustle of ordinary business, are now shrouded in silent sadness, and the air is filled with a quiet, almost palpable tension. Every sound, from the distant rumble of traffic to the quiet rustle of falling drops, spoke of a world holding its breath. Michael, with eyes that reflected a delicate mixture of calm and anxiety, paced the deserted streets, where time seemed to stand still, frozen in anticipation of a black omen. Every step he took was imbued with a sense of silence, so profound that even the slightest movement seemed to echo in pain. Images of green morning light that barely broke through the gray sky were mixed with cold shadows, a mirror, image of the fate that had already begun to change the usual rhythm of life. In his gaze, one could catch a glimmer of unknown sorrow, a harbinger of great tragedy, as if the whole world around him already knew that this moment would be the boundary between the past and the future. Strangely and tragically, even nature seemed to grieve with him. The leaves of the trees swayed in the breeze, as if sighing at the impending loss, and the rain falling from the sky became not just drops, but the tears of the heavens washing the earth. Every sound, every visual element of that moment formed a symphony of grief, silent and inexorable, reflecting the fragility of human life. These minutes were not just a change of scenery, but a symbolic transition, a moment when fear, pain, and inevitability merged into one. They were a reminder of how quickly things can change, how insignificant we are in the face of fate, and how even the quietest step can be the last moment of light in a person's life. May these details forever be remembered as a lesson that the true beauty of life lies in its fragility and unpredictability, and that every moment deserves to be cherished, even if it brings with it the shadow of an inevitable goodbye. the world is suddenly plunged into the darkness of loss, collective pain becomes the unfading spark that unites everyone who has experienced the cruelty of fate. Ferguson, a city where every corner is now permeated with echoes of a light that has passed, is filled with quiet grief. Here, on the wet streets, under a dim sky, people gathered to pay their respects, lighting candles, placing gently clasped bouquets of faded flowers in their hands, and looking at old photographs where smiles once warmed hearts. Imagine thousands of people whose hearts simultaneously merged into a single rhythm of sadness and protest, like thousands of quiet voices merging into one mighty call. Each flickering candle flame became an alphabet of grief, each silent word spoken in unison, a reminder that loss is never personal. It belongs to us all. For in these silent moments, when even the wind seems wistful, the message of how the soul of a community aches, how deeply our hearts are wounded by a loss that cannot be explained. In these spaces of time and space, where time seems to stand still, each raindrop, rolling down the glass surfaces of the houses, tells the story of a man whose life turned into a symbol, and whose passing became an echo for millions. Every sound, every word in this symphony of memory seems to say, we remember, we mourn, we will not forget. The echoes of old voices mixed with modern murmurs have become a bridge between the past and the present, between dreams cut off for good and the hope that pain will become a force for change. The space of grief here is multifaceted. It is not just a memory of the lost, but a profound intention that makes us think about cause and effect, about how the struggle for justice will continue in a world where every human soul has an undeniable value. May these moments of deep reflection and meditative silence be a testament that we are capable of coming together in difficult times, that in collective pain sparks are born that can ignite the sunlight of change. Michael Brown's legacy will never fade, for his life, cut short so early, has come to symbolize the struggle for truth, equality, and human dignity. His name has become an echo in the hearts of those who see the world differently, who do not accept an order created by prejudice and fear. Imagine the morning of a new day, when the first rays of light break through the darkness of night, symbolizing the beginning of a new era of change, an era where every voice matters, where every word spoken in protest becomes a step towards a future in which the tragedies of the past remain a lesson, not an excuse for repeating mistakes. In these new dawns, one hears not only the quiet ringing of dreams, but also the determination of millions of people striving for change. This is not just a remembrance of tragedy. It is a challenge, a cry of the soul that rips through the ages, awakening in us all the best qualities: solidarity, wisdom, and an unshakable faith in the possibility of a just peace. Mass rallies, silent demonstrations, personal stories told on the streets, all of this becomes a single movement that unites people like never before. The effective presence is felt from everywhere, from the memorial stands where portraits and words of remembrance are neatly displayed, to the lively conversations filled with a sincere desire to make a difference in the world. Each step, each silent prayer, each word spoken in protest, merge into a single consonance that marks the beginning of long-awaited change. May these moments, filled with a spirit of redemption and hope, serve as proof that we can face injustice, turn pain into strength, and loneliness into unity. May the memory of Michael Brown be, for us, not only a bitter reminder of the cost of prejudice, but also an eternal guide, a beacon pointing the way to a world where equality and justice are not empty words, but become a reality. Today, as we hear the footsteps of millions, as the streets fill with voices united by a common hope, we affirm that change is possible, and every drop of our collective will can flood the darkness with a new light that awakens the heart of every human being.